Okay, guys. Ugh. I'm just posting videos every day. This has to end, man. And by that I mean, like, anybody who is not just wanting collective peace and isn't doing the work to see all sides of this. So today is D-Day, which is the day that my grandfather, who died this year at 99 and was a Holocaust survivor, celebrated every year. Yeah, so I'm just making this video purely because there needs to be change. Sorry that there's all those loud noises in the background. God, I just feel like I'm trying so hard every day and consumed by this, and I'm continued to be told I'm not doing enough. I'm really frustrated. So, some information. Yesterday was, I guess, the Flag Day in Jerusalem, where some people are celebrating the 1967 war. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's where Israel, in defense of itself, got more territory, and immediately after the war offered back all that territory in exchange for recognition as a country and peace, and it was rejected. That exchange was also happened in 2008, which I've talked about before too. So there's been numerous times where Israel tried to offer that land back and make a peace agreement, and over again it was not accepted. And so now the fucking it's gotten very extremely right, because Israel, I just feel like people gave up. And it's just sad, because now the world is only seeing us, my people, that way, and that was not always the case. So anyways, yesterday was Flag Day, and they walked through East Jerusalem, and I guess it's just very racist and bad against Palestinians and all this crap. And even more sane Jewish, I mean, also, by the way, the only reason that this excuse has room to exist is because it's not entirely an excuse, but the reason why this has been able to grow is because Jews genuinely have not felt safe, and they've also kind of used it to their advantage. Every time that they want a defensive war and they're like, you guys want the land back? Can we both live together? And the Arabs are like, no, you can't. So we're like, all right, I guess we're gonna keep it. So they've kind of been, not just talking about anybody, I mean, I'm talking specifically about leadership, because there's a lot of innocent, just normal civilian people too, everywhere. So that's kind of been the mode of apparatus. And Jews are very generally do believe God's protecting and watching over us. So when 100 or more Iranian missiles were pointed our way and we were fine afterwards, the general sentiment was okay, well, we're being protected. But now recently 2,500 acres just caught fire in northern Israel, and so I hope that Israel feels their land is on fire and it's time to make changes. Simultaneously, Hamas is essentially, I'm not even calling them Hamas, I'm calling them Hambush Mush. They don't get any more of my energy, but Hambush Mush is essentially destroyed in Gaza. Ironically, their leadership is mainly hiding out in Qatar. If you didn't know, they are. How do you think they're able to have you ever thought about how they're able to try to do peace treaties? It's because their main leaders are hiding, not with the people, which I just learned yesterday. Which is really sad. And if you're not aware of Hamushmush's main leader, his name is Sinwar, or Sin and War. Some more, I don't even know what to say at this point, but hopefully you guys are doing your research about the collective thing going on, so that if I was just going to talk negatively about some of the stuff that's going on in Israel, I learned some more information today too, because I decided to do my collective research, which I really hope all of you are trying even an ounce to do, which is that, and this also can explain some of the resentment and some of the racism we see in Israel too. You know, I'm not saying it's okay, but I think it's important to understand this whole scenario that has led to the extreme right. Besides this, the reason for security. So in Israel, the total number of Jews in Arab communities is 10,000. 10,000. The total number of Arab Israelis is 2.1 million, most of whom are Muslim. 10,000, okay? When the state of Israel was established, and in this first, I might need to make a whole other video about that, but I'm gonna just say it right now. There was never I just think it's important to remember the whole history, because now we're at this point where things have become really stuck and are just not how I want them to be playing out. So you need to understand the entire surrounding context so that you can have the intention for that is so that you can have awareness and compassion for everybody who's just an innocent civilian. Okay, that's the goal. So when Israel was first established, the Jewish lens tends to be, which is also, you know, I wrote a whole paper on it. I mean, this is even what the Syrian leader at the time said himself. I mean, Arab, if you actually do a deep dive, you're going to find out they agree. Yes, Seer, I can't remember his name. But anyways, essentially at the time, there was never an overarching plan of removing Palestinian people from the land that was supposed to be, according to the mandate, Israel. There was never an overarching plan. There was plans to evacuate certain pathways, like on the way to Jerusalem, and in one specific fight called Deir Yassin, some people were killed. Like, it was more of a problem. However, then Arab leadership took that fight and they propagandized it. And they said that Jews had raped and murdered tons of people, and then through that fear that they spread, and there ended up being a mass diaspora of Palestinians. And that's what their leadership wanted, because then their goal, they were going to come in and quickly, destroy Israel. On the other hand, Israelis, some of them actually were asking Palestinians to stay, hence why we see, even though, yes, they are not treated as, obviously there's a lot of problems today, but that's why we see this giant still population in Israel. There's actually 21% of the Israeli population is Arab, in case you didn't know. Oh, also unrelated, but side note before I forget, I've just learned today, are 198 countries that apparently are on security watch for Jews or Israelis that I'm not welcome in, that I need to be careful to go to. 198 are on anti-Semitism watch. So I'm just saying all this not so that you whatever, just so that you can see the whole picture, okay? The only way that this can heal is to see the whole picture. Because in America, Jews are also often just seen as white. it's hard to remember that actually, yeah, people are racist against me too. Mainly, most of the nations are Arab, unfortunately. I would love to be able to visit Turkey and Egypt. Like, I would love that. That would be amazing. I don't feel safe to go there. And so anyways, I was just sharing. This is really important. Thank you for watching. But we have to understand the root of this resentment and hate. And I already made a video about the Arab part of that with Hamama and Hashem. So I feel like that was an important video. So now more of the Jewish lens of this. So in that time, when the Arab, for the most part, Palestinians left because of the Arab spurred propaganda on radios and all that, they left in mass exodus. Not entirely, obviously not entirely, but way more than anybody's talking about. Oh, and also, by the way, ironically, Jews really, for the most part, don't use rape as a weapon of war. It's like really not part of our thing. In fact, in general, Jewish people tend to be pretty peaceful, except now we're seeing stuff erupt from resentment. That's why you need to understand this background. But you know who does use rape as a weapon of war and who has not acknowledged it? Hamas. Okay, I was just on Al Jazeera, that website, and they're doing all right. They're actually talking a lot about the Israeli movement for peace, which I appreciate. But what they have not acknowledged, and I looked online, is the rapes. Okay, they've actually tried to deny them. We can't get to peace unless everyone is having compassion for everybody else. So like, if you're a modern Arab person in America who happens to be watching this, like, have compassion for my people too. Like, I am seeing what you're going through. I promise you I am. I really want this war to end. That's why I'm doing this. Oh yeah, so anyways, because I'm talking about the Jewish resentment piece. So first of all, you have to remember that Jews have already been persecuted all these times. They're already like resentful, and we just are not, except for like the ancient Bible, like for 2,000 years, like generally we're a pretty peaceful people. Like there's never been like an outlet for all the crap. Okay, just imagine there's like all this like crap being put on you, and you're like, ugh, and there's never an outlet because you were just supposed to be peaceful. I'm not saying it's okay to kill people though. This is important to be aware of. So another area of resentment is the Sephardic Jews. So once Israel was being made and all of those Palestinians left, mainly because of Arab propaganda, in order to clear the land for a war that they lost. Okay, let's get very clear about this. They don't talk about that. I don't think any Palestinians know that part of the story. There was no plan of an Israeli military to clear the land of Palestinians. That is just a lie. They were only trying to figure out ways in which both people could have fair amounts of the land. That was the original intent. It's important to know the original intent. More resentment, though, is that once the Palestinians all left and Israel was being created, guess what happened? Oh no! I didn't hurt anybody. I don't want anyone to feel hurt. There's a little slug here. I don't want to hurt the slug. Thank you for listening, anyone who is. So at that time, a greater number of Jews were had a violent excommunication from the Arab nations. 900,000 Jews were then torn from the communities where they had been living in for hundreds of years and forced out of all of Arabia, essentially. That's why there's only 10,000 Jews there today. So I'm not saying this for us to take sides. Like, we should 100% be feeling compassion for the Palestinians who are feeling hurt from that time where they had to leave their original home and have been in occupation and have been without the home that they desire. And simultaneously, we also need to hold space and remember like why there's this, what's going on with this Jewish anger and like extremism. It's from all this too. I don't know if you can see the slug. Anyways, hold your compassion for everybody.